So this episode of FR Racing's Garage Talk has been kind of off the walls. We talk about pop versus soda versus Coke.
And we mentioned, I guess, NASCAR and Formula One somehow, and
Yeah,
ramble some more.
yeah, we do. But oh, by the way, Michael Jordan suing NASCAR. That and more on this edition of FR Racing's Garage Talk. Welcome to another episode of FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Pluck.
I'm Eric Richardson.
And before we get started tonight, we're going to start off on a serious note. And I think everyone knows about Hurricane Helene. Hit the Carolinas and East Tennessee very hard, and I don't think really anyone saw that coming. We expected to come inland into Florida, dump some rain on Georgia. It was forecasted that like Nashville was going to get like 6 or 7 inches of rain, and you look at Eastern Tennessee and you look at Asheville, and so they had like over 30 inches of rain in some parts of Asheville, and people had their homes and livelihoods and entire towns destroyed. There's areas where the only way they can get to them is by helicopter. It's absolutely devastating, and just the community. We have a lot of NASCAR is a huge following in North Carolina. Obviously, that's their home base, and we have a couple drivers who live in that area. Unfortunately, they avoided the worst of it, but they were without power. One of them just got power back yesterday night, I believe, and the other is still waiting for power to come back. But cell service was down for several days. People are trying to get a hold of family and they can't, and just roads are destroyed. It's just awful. And we didn't have time to organize any formal fundraiser or anything like that. So what we've been doing in our league broadcasts is we put up some links for a couple of the charities. There's some disaster relief charities that are on a state by state basis. We put like links to the Red Cross, to World Central Kitchen, all great organizations that they're working on the relief. So you see that link. We'll be posting those in our broadcasts for the rest of the season this year throughout the month of October, and encourage you that if you're able to, these people need help, and I've got to make my donation here soon, but we just want to let everybody know we're thinking about them, and we're doing what we can to help, even though it's not much. Anything's better than nothing in that case.
And one of our drivers even mentioned in our chat that lives out there, it's what you see in pictures, it's worse.
I mean, it looks pretty bad on TV and in pictures, and it's like I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's coming firsthand account.
It's and it's like you looked at I pulled up the Google map of the Asheville area. All the state and interstates were closed, like leading into Asheville and in the small communities around it. I mean, it's just awful, just devastating. So
It's wild.
we got to figure out what we're going to do about our charity race for next year, because the date was kind of hit and miss. Like, we got to figure out when we're going to do that next time around.
Yeah, I think we'll get that figured out and we'll have some fun again. It was a great event last year.
It was, yeah. We raised $1,450 for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So it's gave away some really cool stuff, and we're looking to do it again. We just don't have it on the calendar yet, because I think we're going to change the date, just because we scheduled it during the actual Rolex 24 last year, so numerous people missed out on that because they actually went to the event. The week before that's the iRacing 24, which is our big event that we do every year as an organization. So it's we wanted to get in there before the NASCAR, try to recruit some NASCAR drivers to come in and drive in these events before they hit the road, because it's like once their season starts, and their season starting even earlier this next time around with the Bowman Gray. So we don't know. We're gonna do it. We just don't know when yet.
Yeah, it's coming. Stay tuned and more information will come.
So anyway, we need to. A lot of stuff happened in the racing world. We saw Daniel Ricciardo officially was sent packing.
Yeah, Formula One can't swear anymore during races or press conferences.
I saw this meme that was sent to me. Hunter sent it to me actually, and it said, "Have you ever noticed that racing teams are like either Smith Racing or McDonald's child labor financial fraud racing?"
Oh yeah.
It's true. We're guilty of that. uh, I
Checo
mean,
just got served a notice too.
yeah, that's some interesting rumors about that he's going to be asked to retire so they avoid the backlash that they did with Ricardo.
It's so funny though. There's nobody that can go in that car.
No, it's unless your name is Max, like, well, and Yuki's still there because I think that I don't know if this is true or not, but Yuki and the Honda partnership somehow are linked together, allegedly, maybe not.
I think maybe
Uh,
it was Singapore. It was funny. Toto was calling out Horner that Checo was saying your car had problems a year ago. And then until Max finally started to have issues, did you do anything?
yeah, we figured, yeah, we're
Kind
okay.
of roundabout way, Toto defending Checo.
Well, and there was that scene where all the principals are sitting together, and they have the line of the fix your effing car, from I think that was from Drive to Survive. Yeah, and it's funny how that I've got emails, and Toto was right. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
clear now.
it's
Red Bull
we we
needs
we
fixed.
we've said this before, but we went in like this is going to be a really boring year because Max is going to clean sweep probably, and he's going to clinch. Maybe he might clinch by August, and it's going to be super boring beyond that. And that has not happened, and now all of a sudden McLaren look like the best team. Ferrari's working their way up. Mercedes has had their moments, and it's like Red Bull might be the what fourth best team right now.
Yeah. It'll be fun to see. I think McLaren's wing does get changed next race out.
And Red Bull too has lost a lot of people this year. Every time you turn around, somebody, this person's going to McLaren, this person's going, Adrian Newey is going to Aston Martin, and it's like they've lost a lot of people.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if it's just the nature of it or if it's just internal fallout from that whole deal at the beginning of the year.
Well, it's made the season interesting, so cheers to that.
Yeah, what did I see? Stat Piastri is the only one who's run every lap, made every Q3, and finished in the points in every single race. It's impressive.
That is wild, considering a year ago, like, is this guy gonna get fired before the end of his first season?
Yeah, halfway through last year, is he gonna stay around?
Oh, he's come around. I mean,
Yeah.
people are calling him now future world champion, and could be. I mean, they keep going. Yeah, I think there's a possibility of that happening.
Although, what did we see? McLaren at this point is going to drive in support of Lando. They're still gonna take what they can, but if they can help, they will.
Yeah, not surprised.
Until it's like such point in time that he can't win the overall, then it's back
And
to good luck.
and our prediction, well, I mean, it wasn't much of a stretch, but talked about Kyle Larson doing an F1 test.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, and
Is
then I
gonna
think
do an
literally the
F1 test.
next day after we recorded, article comes out. Yeah, we're gonna figure that out, and it's coming from Zach Brown.
Not surprised.
And
Zach
Larson wants to
Brown
do it when there's other cars on track, so we can really compare where he's at.
Zach Brown gave a interview to Dale Jr. and they asked him about NASCAR. And he said, like, we don't see ourselves like going full out into NASCAR because it's a huge commitment, which is he's right. You got to go
Mhm.
all in. you look at Red Bull and NASCAR a while back and wasn't
They were
much.
what, mediocre at best.
Yeah, yeah, and they
Was
abandoned
that
that
Brian
project.
Vickers that primarily ran with him?
Yeah,
What, Scott Speed?
Scott Speed was in there. Yeah, somebody.
I think that was after he'd washed out of F1.
Yeah, still crazy that he got to F1 in the first place, especially after seeing NASCAR Scott Speed. But Zach Brown talked about like a partnership to do like a Daytona would be really cool, and he would love to do that, which that'd be fun.
Yeah, do it like some of these project cars. Was it Project 91 with Trackhouse? Bringing in different drivers, and it was kind of cool to see.
And big news from the world of NASCAR: 2311 and Front Row Motorsports have filed a lawsuit
Against NASCAR.
against NASCAR. Did you see they asked for an injunction to allow them to compete next year as chartered members, even though they haven't signed the charter agreement? So hold on to your hats. Michael Jordan is suing NASCAR.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what happens. And I was listening, I forget which podcast it was, but one of the owners basically likened it to, here's your winning lottery ticket, but if you don't do this and this, then it's void, which is
Uh,
basically what NASCAR did to the teams.
and the discussion on Reddit, and I 100% agree with this. This will never see this will never get to Discovery. The NASCAR is going to try to get it dismissed, number one, and because that's always the number one goal when you're being sued is get it dismissed. And if they can't get it dismissed, they're going to settle out of court because getting to
NASCAR does not want to make their
Discovery.
votes public.
Yeah, and then now all of a sudden the books are in the hands of the team owners, and yeah, it'll that'll go public. Some of it'll go public, and they don't want to see that. They don't want their numbers to go public.
No, I think one of their arguments that can maybe be substantiated is just the NASCAR ownership of tracks.
Yeah, you own
Because
the
they
tracks.
own so many of them.
You own they call the cars and the parts proprietary to NASCAR. I mean, I have to assume it's a split. I would think like the manufacturers have a say in that too, but NASCAR claims those the cars are theirs, which probably are. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert.
Oh, to have the good old days where you could just go into a car dealership, buy a car, slap a number on it, and go race.
Old school NASCAR. Yeah,
That's what it used to be. Stock
put the
car racing.
moon shine.
Finish a
Yeah,
race, drive your car home.
yes. It's not a stock car anymore. It's a spec series.
Yes, it really is. Would be fun to watch a street
Although
Toyota Corolla or
it,
Camry that they run.
I mean, it is cool though. Like, there's a moron who lives near me who has a Camaro, and he'll gun it down the street at night at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm guessing he works night shift or something, but he'll gun it down the street at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, yeah, that's a Camaro, right? That's the same sound I hear when I go to Phoenix Raceway too. It's so it's
It'd be
the
funny to watch
bones.
a
The bones are there.
Camaro, a Mustang, and then a little 1.6 cylinder
Corolla
Camry.
or Camry, yeah. I almost said Corolla. Camry. Yeah.
That'd be fun to watch.
Oh man. So, other news, Stadium Scene TV published their second episode of the main event, which will be aired yesterday. I guess it'll be aired yesterday, and that's my other show. So this will be my third recording of a show this week. So I will not be doing that on a weekly basis, but uh decided to hold the mid-year state of the site and announced officially that well, this will be public by the time this airs, but the Stadium Scene will be airing Rocket League and basically sanctioning our own esports you know, sanctioning body, whatever you want to call it,
That's gonna be
next
exciting.
next year. So yeah, we're a lot of good content. Parlay that. We've got some plans for 2025 as well that we're working on, and don't want to spread ourselves too thin, but we want to keep with this momentum. We've been having just fantastic turnout to watch Wednesday Night Dash, and Indy Racing World Series is not far behind, and some weeks it's actually does, excuse me, does better.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I played
do
a
you
little bit of Rocket
imagine,
League.
do you imagine, yeah, and then we're gonna have Rocket League mixed in, in addition to the sports talk shows like like this one. It's we're part of that channel as well. So you're watching this on Saturday at 2 p.m. So you it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work. It's been very frustrating at times, but to build a sports channel of rising star sports content creators doing sports talk as they're trying to build their portfolio and mixing in live esports as well on the channel, it's really been a winning formula that we've been looking for quite a while. It's like, if we would have got into it like a year earlier, we'd be really cooking right now. But still, we're catching up, and
Oh, good.
yeah, and we're giving opportunities. Like, we've put together a nice community of drivers that we've raced with. What do you think? We've had about, I don't know, 35, 40 drivers come through Wednesday Night Dash.
I bet if we add it up, it's probably pushing 50 to 60.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some people pop in for a season and then disappear or whatever. But I mean, it's really incredible that when we started this, just kind of goofing around, and we're just going to do a one-on-one race to try out streaming and see how that goes. And the only person watching was my mom. And now look where we are 3 years later.
Yeah, it's turned into this.
3 years later, it's just my mom watching, me and Eric go one-on-one on different tracks every week in a different car. And like, what? This could work as a league. And you know what? It took a while, but it has.
Yeah, it built up and that spun off the IndyCar series, which the whole shutdown with iRacing
It worked
and
out for the
IndyCar
best.
licensing actually I think was a good thing.
It worked out for the best. I mean, it originally it was going to be a season of Wednesday Night Dash, and there was very, I would say, mixed reaction from the drivers because a lot of them are like, "I'm a NASCAR guy. I don't want to do an Indy car." And kind of like when we had our GT3 season mixed in, we had some people just flat out say like, "I hate those cars. When you're back in a NASCAR type vehicle, call me." Uh, so we spun that off as well in a little different way, but uh, yeah, I mean, we're waiting to see kind of what iRacing does with some releases of some different cars that they've hyped recently. Uh, I don't know. Do you want to kick the tires on what we've been talking about? Nothing final yet, but
Oh, let's finalize a little bit more.
we've got some ideas. We'll leave it at that today.
Yeah, we got some ideas. The IndyCar season is over. NASCAR is in its final stages. Not too many races left. Formula One, they're on another like 8 month break.
Yeah, yeah, we'll be back at the
You
end of
know, they take
October.
12 months of break for a
I
six
don't,
month season.
I don't get that. They're pushing into the first week of December, but they've got like 3, 4 weeks off in between Singapore and Coda.
It doesn't take that long to go from one to the next.
No, especially since they're going from Las Vegas to like where is it? Qatar the following week. I mean,
Yeah,
in that region, like they're going to the Middle East. Like they're going from Las Vegas to the Middle East in 1 week. Like it's like they
I don't
needed a
get it.
fall break now too,
But we're within just a few weeks now of the end of our Indy season. We didn't race this week, but we only have two races left.
including our
And
Indy
then,
500 race, which I think is going to be pretty big.
yeah, it sounds like it. Then we have a off week on Wednesday Night Dash, and there's three races left there. So
And
our
then
season's winding down.
our
So
wacky
we're gonna
fun
have
race.
some open air space coming up. So we'll just tease it that way.
We need to take it easy because it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work too. And we had a couple of protests we had to deal with last couple weeks ago. Um, yeah, obviously maintaining stats and records, and
Yeah, it's not just show up, drive a race for an hour or so, and call it done.
Yeah, I get done with Wednesday night dash and I slide from the rig over to my desk and got to put the final race graphics together, put the standings together, get the prize pool for the drivers. We got to put those payouts in, and it takes some time. And then you got to post everything. So, and hope you didn't make a stupid typo.
I've done that before, and
Me too.
yeah, my time is already filled up during the day, so adding even more to it, it gets tough.
It's a lot of work, and we kind of figured it was, but it's and especially too when you got more drivers in there and you got personality management, and generally there's been a few minor blow ups, which is going to happen when you're competing. It's just human nature. The testosterone goes goes a little overboard, but is what it is.
Yeah, you may be sitting still doing 180 miles an hour, but you still get into it, and the intensity is,
Oh, it's mentally
I would say it's
exhausting.
similar. I don't think anything can match actually driving the car, but you're focused. It's intense at times, and you're just trying not to wreck and pass another car. It's a lot.
My case, I get super loose coming out of four on lap two because I locked up my brakes because I had my brake bias set wrong. And I just get plowed through. So back to back weeks finishing right at the back. And poor Hunter, his triples and his monitor decided to goof on him as we were hitting grid and he had to drop out and reboot. And by the time he came back up, he was 5 laps in. Just like, man,
Not the first person to have that happen to this season.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it sucks. Like, I mean, we don't have a policy on like what happens if you have a technical glitch. Like, sorry, man. I mean, this sucks, but can't help you,
Yeah, I've
unfortunately.
had multiple technical glitches through the course of this year, which hopefully by the end of the year I'll have them fully rectified, but I've been bitten by it a lot this season. Just calendar year, I should say. That is unfortunate. But speaking of that, Dawson Buchanan, broken record, wins again.
Yeah, yeah. The Doing the weekly video updates are getting really easy because hey, Dawson wins again. Dawson wins again.
Well, we had Colton
This
finish
week,
second and
I've
Orville third.
been working on my like voiceover voice, and like I tried to like exaggerate it early. And I'm like that, and then this week I'm like, watch and see if Dawson Buchanan moves closer to clinching his first title. All right.
Need to see if we can get like the AI version and have Morgan Freeman or even James Earl Jones. Sad to hear what happened there. Great guy.
Dawson Buchanan
Like those would
will
just be awesome.
clinch his first title of the Wednesday Night Dash series.
Those
I
are
know
two guys
that
I could just listen. If they
that
did
that
audiobooks,
was
I would just sit and listen to it.
that was a really terrible impersonation that I just did there, and I know that I'm not. I there's a few impersonations that I can absolutely nail, but that was not one of them.
And I don't know if I should mention the two that I can do the best.
I had a not a it wasn't a viral clip, but it went it got a decent amount of response to it a few years ago where uh, on my other show I did an impersonation of Dick Vitale. And it was kind of Dick Vitale at that point was complaining about how he had a first class flight from he was throwing a fit on Twitter about his first class flight, and they gave him like a frozen sandwich as his meal on his first class flight, and people are like, cry me a river, dude. And like, oh no, you got a frozen sandwich on your flight. Like,
And you're in first class.
yeah. And, people are just making fun of him. And so I did this bit where it was, Dick Vitale, after finding out about, finding out you get a frozen sandwich as your meal on your first class United Airlines flight.
I wouldn't say I'm spectacular at him. We'll see who listens to the show and calls me out on it. But I can sometimes get the Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
That's a
Right now.
very random one.
Yeah, that one.
Got
Then fun one to do is Pennywise from It.
it.
Pop, pop, pop.
See, the thing too that I am very guilty of is it's not an impersonation per se, but when I'm speaking with somebody from a different part of the US that has a obviously like different dialect, like you go into Louisiana, for example, or you go to Texas, and you're talking to somebody from Texas or Louisiana most of the time. And I had this meeting one time actually at my old job, and a customer from North, they had offices in North and South Carolina. And I went in and introduced myself, and because I covered their sales region and I covered their offices, and I start talking to them, and it may have been 5 minutes, and I'm like, uh, I shake hands. I'm like, well, nice meeting y'all, and I just stopped, and I just turned around and walked out of the room, and I'm like, nice meeting y'all. What in the heck was that? It was so awkward. But I'm like, wow, I talked to somebody from the Carolinas for 5 minutes and I'm using y'all, which like I never,
I do all the time.
never use that word.
It's funny. I think it was actually moving here in Michigan. I didn't think I had an accent, but I was talking to people who were like going through checkout and they're like, where are you from? Came from Colorado, but I'm from
Listen,
Indiana.
I've been everywhere. The Yeah, I've had people who've known me for a long time tell me my accent has changed over the years. And I hear like old audio of myself and I'm like, yeah, it really has. And it's like, I spent the first 23 years of my life in Indiana, and then I spent the next 8+ years in Chicago. And I walk out of there and I'm talking to people. I'm like, yeah, we talk about the Bears, and you go have yourself a
The
hot dog,
Bears.
drink some Jepson's Malort. And that Chicago accent started to slip into my my normal dialect. And now I've been out here, but I think there's no Arizona accent, partially because it's everybody's from everywhere
Y'all
here.
came from everywhere.
And so it's like you've got California, you've got Midwest, you've got just a little bit of everything. And but the thing is, like, I don't know why, but since I've been out here, maybe it's just my focus on racing and watching NASCAR, I've had a little bit of the Indiana kind of slip back in to my dialect. And I don't know, maybe it's your fault.
Yeah, I'll take
But I hear myself and I'm like, I didn't enunciate that word at all that I just said. Like there was, it was like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. I go to the bar for some beer. It's like,
Great show.
yeah, it's like, where did that come from?
That was funny. We were actually just up in Canada on Sunday, and
Oh
you'd
hey,
think Canadian, like,
oh
hey, how you
hey,
doing,
oh,
eh?
how you doing? Hey, don't you
I
know?
walk in, how y'all doing? You're
You
not
fit right.
Canadian, are you?
Yeah, I
No.
fit right in.
That is fun.
it's
It's fun just go across the border.
it's funny though, when I was talking to my brother, who I don't talk to like on the phone. I text a lot, but I don't talk to him on the phone a lot, and I haven't seen him in several years. And then he gets on the phone and I talk to him, and I'm like, where did that twang come from when you it's like, oh yeah, we went out to the bar the other night. Like, have you always sounded like that? Have I just been away from you that long that I just didn't notice? But the thing is, like, I think he's always sounded like that, but it sounds so weird to me hearing him talk. Like, where did that come from? But I think it's just because
It's
it's gone.
it's so funny. You think of Indiana being in the north, but you get much south of Indianapolis, and there's a lot of southern accent down there,
Oh,
especially down on the river.
Oh man, Southern Indiana, I tell you what.
That's the place. I spent plenty of time down there.
Yeah, down there, you just did it. Oh, classic.
No, I can't help it. I have partial Kentucky blood in me.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you went to school right on the state line, and
Well, my dad was from Kentucky. A lot of family actually was from there.
see, and the thing too is, which I'm not sure I know the answer to this question for you. So in the calling everything Coke, pop, or soda, where do you fall on that?
Soda.
Soda, I do too. But that's the thing is like that's not a like I think that's a no, it's not even a Michigan thing.
A lot of people up here call it pop.
Yeah, it's Michigan's a pop state.
That's the easy way to tell
Indiana,
you I'm not from there.
yeah, Indiana's a lot of it's a pop. Actually, Indiana's a Coke for everything.
That's pretty much what I do. Is I just call it Coke. But I've done better soda.
Yeah, I've used soda as well, but my parents are from the East Coast, and that's an East Coast thing. Uh,
The other classic, I want a soda pop.
Soda pop. I have a soda pop. It's funny though, like Coke is like people call everything Coke.
It's a generic term
Yeah,
in addition to a proper name.
so this map where they actually did a study, basically every northern state except for part of Wisconsin and the eastern seaboard, like Washington, Oregon, all the way over is pop. There's like this chunk of Missouri and southern Illinois that's soda. And like you go up the eastern half of Wisconsin and it's soda. And you go Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, all up to Maine, soda. But California, Nevada, Arizona are soda, which I really haven't noticed to that here. I think soda is the predominant term. But you go over to New Mexico, Texas, the Southeast, the Bible Belt, Virginia, the Carolinas, it's all everything's Coke.
I feel like now that's kind of like the joke of what do you call it, but it's more just proper. It's like, do you have Coke or Pepsi? And then specify, all right, I want this one.
The classic, I'll have a Coke. Pepsi okay? No, it's not okay.
No, but I'll take it.
I just like I've largely, I mean, outside of mixers, like I don't touch the stuff. But yeah, I drink beer all the time. Not all.
Yeah, more or
Actually,
less if I try to stay away from it a little bit more, drink more Rogue than
yeah,
soda.
that's where I've gone down the rogue path.
I need
Haha.
to get my coffee maker back because one broke and I had to throw another one away
Yeah,
Sunday
it's
for
like my
Black
my
Friday.
daily routine is here, another sponsor plug here is you got the coffee first thing in the morning because I'm just dragging every morning because that's just I put some like you people question if I'm even human because like and I question if you're human too because I will text you and it's like 3 in the morning your time and you respond like that at
Yeah.
like 3 in the morning your and like but I'll text people and like you were texting me at like 1 a.m. your time. What are you doing? I'm like, well, I've got stuff to do. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah. I'm at times it's just a machine. Just keep going.
It's just the amount of stuff that I've done over the last several years with with stadium scene and coding all of that and building that process up and managing leagues and trying to figure out how to drive these dang cars. It's just uh I just there's just not enough hours. Oh, and by the way, not being a crappy parent, that's also been, pretty high on the list. But yeah, it's just
Yeah,
it's
not enough time in the day, and especially with getting a brand new team going, it's just me. I don't have an assistant coach yet
you
because
don't have
I'm
an
doing
assistant yet?
no, I'm doing
Oh
all the
man.
coaching, all the planning. I'll be doing all the driving, all the recruiting.
You need like a parent volunteer, like here, just blow the whistle every couple of minutes or something.
I need to find a volunteer coach, but I got more stuff I'm working on and planning on. I don't know when I'm going
I
to do it,
I,
but
I did,
I'm
my
going
my
to.
wife was like she wasn't good. Like I'm not like insulting her, but like she was a swimmer through high school herself. And I don't honestly, I couldn't tell you what her event was, but she self admits that she was not very good at swimming, but she did it. She liked it. And my kids, they've done the same. Like we got them into swim lessons early because you have to living around here where every other house has a
Yep.
pool. Like it's just you see way too many drownings on the news of this 2-year old. I mean, we know somebody personally who lost a kid to drowning, and it's just awful. Um, just because they don't have fencing, they accidentally leave, they don't latch the back door, and the kid falls in the pool, and you just turn your eye, and it's just like when we have a pool and we put a fence up right away, and we're very very strict on that with the kids, and we got them into swimming early on, and but now it's like now they're learning breaststroke and they're 6, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're gonna
That's
be
awesome.
swimmers. Yeah, they're gonna be swimmers, I guess. So
Yeah, I've actually been teaching some fourth graders just some swimming stuff, and this week I had them sitting on the side to get in, and a couple of them decided to get a little too far, and I'm like,
yeah,
no, you guys come here.
it,
This is not what my expectation was.
sit.
So if we need to, we're gonna sit back here by the wall, and then we'll walk up.
It's
So
pretty
I'm gonna
wild
mess around
too.
with it.
It's pretty wild. One of my kids actually is really really good at backstroke, and it's just like yeah, they at the freestyle, it's good enough that they could get themselves out of a pool if they fall in with the freestyle. But on the backstroke, it's just like it looks so natural. I'm like, they did not get those genetics from me. I'm gonna ask for a DNA test because like that looks
I was gonna
way
say they didn't
too
get that from you.
yeah. Like hello, I trip over my own feet on a given day. Like I struggle with walking in general, and you got this kid out here doing like fluent backstroke. I'm like, no, you're not my kid. I want to see proof. The fact that she looks exactly like me and acts exactly like me to the point that I get annoyed, and you get reminded that that's what you do on a regular
Yeah,
basis. How do you
I
like your own medicine?
I have a mini me, just as
It,
stubborn, just to yeah.
it's yeah, it's that's the craziest thing about kids is when you and the thing too with twins is one kid is exactly like me, one kid is exactly like my wife. Personality wise, it's exactly the same, and they fight like crazy, and it's just like, all right, I gotta go break up, gotta go break up a fight, screaming in each other's faces. Oh, twins.
Yep,
My brother is actually gonna have a kid here in about a month, a little over a month.
that's wild.
Yeah, I know.
It is funny how far of a derailment this show has been.
It's not Kyle, by the way. It's not Kyle. No. Uh, uh, there's a line, I forget what show is from, but it's like, why would I be a lame dad when I can be a cool uncle?
That's gonna be wild.
Yeah, that's totally Kyle. But yeah, then they came with us to Disneyland this summer. That was the first time they've seen him since they were like 2. So this is like the first real like face-to-face interaction they've had with him, and I'm just like it was to the point I went to the Angels game and Kyle is sitting with me. And if you've met my brother Kyle, he's a little nutty. We'll just leave it at
I
that.
got to see
And
Kyle in August.
you
That's awesome.
that's right, you did run into Kyle. You
Yep.
were sitting like 10 rows behind him at the Brickyard. But he's like people question like if he's actually related to me because we're so totally different.
You guys really
And
are.
we're at the Angels game and my kids are acting up and Kyle's just like looking at me like, how do you put up with this? I'm like, you've been hanging out with them for an hour and you're already getting stressed.
Do this 24/7.
And the thing is, like, I'm not even doing it 24/7, but I would just like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say it. I did. But
That
anyway,
is funny.
hey, was there a NASCAR race last week? we've been
Yeah.
we've been way off topic tonight.
Yeah. What? Russ Chastain comes through with the W.
Got to see the watermelon.
Yeah. We touched on it with the show on Sunday. There's It's kind of
I
fun seeing the non-playoff drivers getting out and winning races.
I have to say though, Ross, after he missed the playoffs, he got rid of the beard. He's been with that beard for quite a few years now.
Oh, wow.
He looks like really goofy without a beard.
You get so used to seeing somebody and you're like, wait, what?
Actually, I saw this person on social media after there was a video posted of Ross at some event, and he had shaved his beard, and this guy wrote, "My wife no longer has a crush on you because you shaved your beard."
That was gonna be really funny. Like one of my favorite current baseball players outside of like the Cubs tried Blackman on the Rockies
Oh,
and he's just retiring.
caveman.
It's gonna be hilarious to see him shave again. For years he's had the mullet, huge beard. You see pictures back when he
I
first
can't
started
even
playing, it's
remember
like,
what
wait, what?
I can't even
That's
remember what
him?
he looked like without the beard and mullet. And it's just like, could you imagine if they would have traded him to the Yankees at some point where he'd have
Oh
to get rid
man.
of all that?
I actually could have seen it at one point going in and be like a DH.
Charlie
I
Black.
was joking around that I'm gonna grow my hair out and grow the beard. I'm gonna let it be like Blackman. My wife goes, "No, you're not gonna
No,
do
I get criticized for this. I mean, yeah, granted, I get it. It's like this is not the greatest look in the world, but I don't really care. And I get criticized for this. It's just like, aren't you gonna like trim that, you caveman?
When I get fed up with it, that's when I get rid of it. I don't
What
trim
really
anything.
what really irked my wife is I got a haircut like, I don't know, a week before everybody got sent home from COVID, and then I didn't get a haircut for, oh, what was it? That was March. So it was like almost 9 months. And I got assaulted by a pair of scissors and a pair of clippers in the first week of December because the Christmas card photo is not going to be you looking like you're a member of Van Halen. Uh, but yeah, my hair was like down to here. It was bad. Really bad.
Yeah, my next one will be in February, as is my tradition.
I mean, I used to get haircuts like every 6 weeks on the dot. And then COVID happened and I'm like, push it to
Yeah, it's not worth it.
10, 12 weeks. I mean, it's so expensive nowadays. Shout out to Sport Clips, though. I do enjoy going to Sport Clips for my haircuts. Maybe we can get them to sponsor us.
Supporting Denny Hamlin.
I mean, it's great. Like my wife's like, "Would you really have to go there?" I'm like, it's not that expensive. Like,
It's actually pretty cheap there.
yeah, it's pretty cheap. You get a good haircut, and you walk out of there, and you do the shampoo, and they got the towel, facial, and the massager at the. You watch TV while I'm having my haircut. I mean, what more can you ask for?
As we go through playoffs, do you think we're going to keep seeing non-playoff drivers win?
Probably.
Because they're running up front and
I hope so.
doing stuff.
To make the playoff drivers have to really work to get themselves through.
How much longer do you think this playoff system is going to run? I think the drivers are even now starting to be like, we don't get this. We like it, but we don't.
I still think that if you took away, I think nobody's going to be happy with a playoff ever. But I still think if you take away the win and you're in, give yourself some extra bonus points to incentivize the wins, but not win and you're in.
No, that needs to go away.
Especially when you have pre-playoffs, you have Daytona, which we've had Austin Cindric walk in. You've had Ricky Stenhouse Jr. walk in. You've had Michael McDowell walk in. I mean, McDowell's been better, but up to that point, McDowell auto clinches with that.
In no other league can you go in and win your first game and be like, oh, I'm in the playoffs.
Or you're an NFL team that's 2-14, but because you won the last game, you're in the playoffs as a 3-win team.
Now, if the division was that bad, okay.
We've had 7 and that year with a 7-9 champion. That was it, the Seahawks that did that.
And something. But nowhere else does that.
No, yeah, like I said, incentivize the incentivize the wins. Give your a few extra bonus points for that. But like we can't have. I mean, as great as it was to see Harrison Burton and how dramatic that win was, it's just like he shouldn't have been in the playoffs.
No. And that's where I kind of like the IndyCar points. You got a nice little boost if you win the race
Yeah,
because you get 50, and then any other bonus points you accumulate. And then what? Second, you get 40. So if you're winning races, that's a big boost. And I think we need to get rid of this whole stage thing too. It's like we've seen it, we're going to see it this weekend too with Talladega. The cars are just going to cruise at 50% throttle because they're just trying to make fuel mileage. And that doesn't
yeah.
make it fun.
Nope, it certainly doesn't. I mean, I enjoyed Talladega weekend, both
Yeah,
Talladega
it's a blast
weekends.
being there.
I'd like to go there sometime. And then I want to go to a Coke 600. I want to go to a Daytona 500. I want to go to a Talladega weekend.
I'm thinking
And
here in 2 years, I can maybe try for Daytona as I will have already done conference at that point.
all right, we'll put it on the agenda.
Be what the 26th season.
Works for me. All right, tentative plans. I'll start working on the internal approvals for the travel.
September of 2025 will be in Indianapolis. February of 26 will be in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Live from the Daytona. Like I said, my one of my life goals is I want to rent an RV or at least be invited by somebody who has an RV in the infield at Daytona. Let me climb up on the roof with a cooler of beer with a lawn chair. Let me just sit on the top of your RV and just sit there and drink beer
I
for
feel
the
like I
whole
want to do that
Daytona
at
500.
I kind of want to do that at Talladega.
Is the infield at Talladega like as wild? I I don't
Um,
really. I mean, Daytona's known for their infield, but I don't. Is
if it's anything like outside the track, it's insane.
well, I mean, I can imagine it being insane. I mean, it's Talladega, Alabama.
The stories from that night.
I mean, I think a Coke 600 would be a lot of fun in the sense like we know so many people now that live in that area that go to that race. And you go into North Carolina, you do the NASCAR Hall of Fame, you visit a couple of the shops while you're there. Go check out Hendrick, you check out Penske, you check out 2311's new state of the art facility.
I think the hardest thing camping on the infield is I've actually know people that have done that at the Coke 600. It's all you hear all night is generators. That's all you can hear. And
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
loud.
I'll be good with just staying in a hotel for that. For Daytona, like I don't need to spend the whole time out there. I just need the point that I climb up onto the RV with the lawn chair and the beer and sit there for a little while, have a couple beers, and then say thanks. So if any of you going to the 2026 Daytona 500 want to invite us out into the infield with your lawn chairs and share a couple beers, uh, we are more than willing to accept the invitation to that.
Maybe we'll do a Garage Talk Live and you can be our featured guest.
To the live from this guy's RV.
That'd be actually really awesome.
I kind of figured like worst case scenario, if we went to like a Coke 600, we'd have to do a show from the parking lot beforehand.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, we didn't get a lot discussed tonight here, but that's okay. It happens.
Yeah, kind of quiet with only Wednesday Night Dash and NASCAR this week.
Yeah. And we talked, you know, watermelon got smashed.
We'll see what happens this weekend. Talladega
Yeah.
should be a wild one. See if Blaney can pull it off again.
Ooh.
Then Indy Racing World Series is heading to Kansas.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
Lane Snow is going to be
walking away.
coming in to race at Kansas. And then Dawson Buchanan's going to be at Indy, by the way.
And we got a lot of people jumping in for Indianapolis.
I mean, we have to
250 miles
we
there.
we we have to leave it on the schedule just because, like it, you get all these like one-time interest people in there, but it's like, why don't you just like come do the full season with us?
Yeah, maybe a couple changes coming with that in the next year, but got to work on those. And
That would be
well,
kind of criminal to have a Indy series on iRacing and not have the Indianapolis Oval on your schedule.
yeah, I think it's going to be moving around between just the standard race and then the 250. We're not going to do 250 every single time.
That will be exhausting.
Maybe 250 at Chicagoland next season.
That would be fun.
I think that could be okay. I'm starting to work on that schedule now too.
I've got 30 tracks picked out for next year for the 3 seasons. There's no order yet. There's a couple in there. I'm like, I think I'm gonna take that one. I went down and I sat down. I said, okay, we're gonna do Cup in the spring. We're gonna do trucks in the summer. We're gonna do Xfinity in the fall. That's gonna be our schedule, standard schedule moving forward. And I picked 30 tracks out. I'm gonna tell you right now, Lime Rock is gonna be on the truck schedule. There's your
It's
hint. That's
unreal.
that is for sure. That is locked in. The rest of it, we can make some adjustments.
And there'll be Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, there's going to be a Daytona or Talladega every season. One of the seasons will be under the lights at Daytona.
Let's do Under the Lights at Dega.
What lights?
Exactly.
There was there was a clip where they did qualifying at Talladega, like in the dark. I forget what year this is.
That'd be frightening.
Yeah, it was in the early 2000s where they had at the end of the qualifying, like it's like dusk and you can barely see the car out there. Oh man.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah,
I guess the big question is going to be: are we going to finalize the schedule while taking shots on the Lord, or are we going to have our wits about us?
there was no alcohol consumed when I picked out my 30 races for next year.
I guess our big question for Indy: do we go 10 or 12?
I think with the numbers, unless we grow it, I think 10 is probably okay. Because we do, 10, 10, and 10, and then we kind of mix in 10 and 10.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun stuff coming up with both seasons. It's gonna be exciting. It'll be a good year.
Yeah. And we're going to try to revamp the GT series next year. Don't know what we're going to do. We figured Saturday morning first thing would be a decent time to do it, but it's just not getting the response that we thought it would. So we're going to go back to the drawing board on that one. And
Yeah,
I
we
mean, I
kind of
think
kicked
the
it off. We got a concept moving, so
yeah, and I think
it's
the
doing what we need
concept
to.
is fun. We've got a free series that you come and race and use it as practice for the, in a race environment for the official events. It's just, we just didn't get great. Like, I don't think we had a race where there was more than like 5 or 6 people max ever this year.
No, so we'll talk to everybody and we'll figure some things out here.
Yeah, we got some cleanup. Always improve. It's never stop improving. That's what we do. As Eric goes to the rogue bottle.
And it keeps me going through the day. When you're still up at 3 a.m. and going the next morning, it helps.
It certainly does. All right. So check us out at FR Racing Online, frracingonline.com. We're now on Blue Sky because because we needed a social media platform that was not under the Zuckerberg conglomerate for strategy purposes. So rule number 1 is diversify your social media strategy, because if you fall on one platform or one ownership group, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, that are all under the same ownership group, you can get yourself banned. You're in trouble.
Yep.
So Blue Sky was started by former Twitter founder CEO Jack Dorsey, and now he's not affiliated with it anymore. But it's been pretty good. It's There's a lot of similarities to Twitter, but so far it has not been as toxic as Twitter. I mean, even pre all the changes, Twitter was kind of toxic. But
Yeah, it was.
anyway, yeah, at FR Racing Online on Blue Sky. I think it's like at frracingonline.bsky.social or something like that. I don't know. It's just if you're on there, find us. We're there.
We'll be there. Let us know what we can talk about, or if you got any ideas for things to talk about on the show
And we will
within
see
reason.
you. Yep, we'll recap Talladega for Monday, and we'll see you next week for the Indy Racing World Series at Kansas Speedway.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and take care.